All right, let's take a look now at enums in Rust. If you already saw the video about structs or structures in Rust, structs give you a way of grouping together related fields and data, kind of like a dog with its breed and its weight, which we had used in the example in that video. Well, where structs and enums differentiate each other is that enums give you a way of saying that a value is one of a possible set of values. Back to the dogs and animal example, we may in our program want to say something like a dog is one of a set of possible animals. And those animals could also include cats or hamsters or sea urchins. I don't know. And how do we do that in Rust? Well, in Rust, we're able to do that with an enum. So let's take a look at it. Let's look at a situation we might want to express in code and see why enums are more useful, or rather more appropriate than structs. Let's say we need to work with IP addresses. And let's say that right now, two major standards are used for IP addresses. Let's call one of the standard version 4 and the other version 6. So we have two different possibilities for IP addresses. And we want to express that in our program. And thus, because these are the only possibilities for an IP address that our program is going to come across, we can indeed enumerate. We can enumerate all possible variants of it. And that, my friends, is where enumeration and enum get their name. So let's say that any IP addresses can be either that version 4 or the version 6 type of address, but none can be both at the same time. That property of IP addresses, that's what makes the enum data structure appropriate in this case, because there's only two of them and an enum value can only be one of its variants, and in this case, one of its two variants. Let's say both version 4 and version 6 addresses are still fundamentally IP addresses. So, I mean, they're an IP address. And if we have code that handles IP addresses elsewhere other than where we're defining them, then whether it's a version 4 or a version 6, we want to treat that IP address as an IP address, the same. And you betcha we can do that with enums. So let's first create this enum of IP addresses. Now, how do you create an enum in Rust? Well, you need the enum keyword. So that's enum. And then you need the name of the enum that you're going to create. In this case, we're just creating an enum for different IP address kinds. So we could just call this maybe something like IP address type. So then we have our name, open close curly braces. Then inside, we want to list the different enumerations of this enum or of this IP address type. So I said there was a version 4 and a version 6 IP address. We can just say V4 is going to be 1, comma, next line, we'll say V6. V6, like the size of the engine in my EcoBoost truck, because, well, that's just what this world's come to. But anyway, so now that we have this, we have basically a custom type. We have a custom data type, and we can now use this elsewhere in our code. So now let's create some instances of this IP address type. Let's create two different instances of that IP address where one is a version 4 and one is a version 6. So I will say let 4 equal, and then we're going to call the enum by its name, so IP address type, : V4. All right, so now we're going to have this data type called 4, and it's going to be a IP address type. Which one of these two enumerations of the IP address type is it going to be? A V4. Now let's make one for the other one. Let 6 equal, same thing, call the enumeration by its name, : and then call the type by its name after that as well. So V6. Boom. Now we have two different instances of IP address types that we have, and one of each enumeratable type. Now, there's an endless number of possibilities what you can do from here with your code with these two different types of enums. If you got something out of this video, smash a like. If you didn't, then go ahead, press the dislike. Either way, developerdirection.com. I am out.